At the dawn of the 20th century, Europe believed it had reached the peak of civilization. Cities flourished, wealth expanded, and confidence defined daily life across Europe. Industry and technology transformed society at an unprecedented speed. Factories fueled economies, but also fed competition between nations. Armies trained constantly, preparing for conflicts many believed inevitable. Europe was armed to a degree never seen before in human history. Behind the calm surface, war was already waiting. In 1871, Germany unified and reshaped the balance of power in Europe. The birth of the German Empire marked a turning point for the continent. France emerged humiliated, carrying resentment that would last decades. The map of Europe was redrawn, but stability did not follow. Germany's economy surged, challenging older European powers.
France sought allies, determined never to face Germany alone again. Across Europe, military education became a national priority. Revenge and preparation shaped French military thinking. Industrial power fed the machinery of future wars. The press fueled fear, pride, and suspicion between nations. Mobilization plans were rehearsed as if war were inevitable.
Europe stood armed, divided, and dangerously confident.
Millions lived under empires that did not represent their identity or aspirations. The Austro-Hungarian Empire ruled over dozens of cultures and nationalities.
In the Balkans, Serbian nationalism grew stronger and more determined.
Bosnia became a symbol of imperial control and local resentment.
Across the empire, different peoples demanded autonomy and recognition. National identity spread through culture, education, and political debate.
Europe's borders rarely matched the people who lived within them.
Nationalism turned cultural pride into political confrontation.
Political violence became an accepted tool for radical movements.
Young generations were increasingly drawn to extreme ideas. Education often reinforced loyalty to nation above empire. The empire relied increasingly on force to maintain control. Repression deepened resentment instead of restoring stability. Underground movements prepared for direct action. Russia watched the Balkans closely, seeing both danger and opportunity. Pan-Slavic ideals tied Russian ambition to Balkan nationalism. Vienna feared that nationalism could tear the empire apart.
The Balkans became a constant source of international tension. Local conflicts repeatedly threatened to spiral out of control.
By 1914, Europe was unstable, divided, and dangerously close to war.
Russia saw itself as the protector of Slavic peoples in the Balkans.
Pan-Slavism connected Balkan nationalism to Russian ambition.
Austria-Hungary viewed Serbian nationalism as an existential threat.
The empire tightened control, increasing tension on every border.
European rivalries extended far beyond the continent itself. The British Empire dominated global trade and naval power. France relied on its colonies to maintain international influence.
Germany felt excluded from the colonial world dominated by older powers. Colonial disputes pushed European diplomacy toward open hostility.
Naval supremacy became central to national security.
Germany challenged British dominance at sea. The naval arms race intensified distrust between great powers. Espionage reflected growing fear and paranoia across Europe.
Public opinion was shaped by fear, pride, and aggressive nationalism. Mass emotions made compromise increasingly difficult.
Diplomacy struggled to keep pace with rising tensions.
Detailed war plans waited for the right moment to be used.
Europe's infrastructure was designed for rapid mobilization.
A generation prepared to fight without fully understanding the cost.
By 1914, Europe stood armed, interconnected, and ready for catastrophe. Military planning became systematic, precise, and unforgiving.
Armies rehearsed war as if peace were already lost.
France believed speed and aggression would decide the next war.
Once mobilization began, stopping it would be nearly impossible.
Railways turned political decisions into irreversible military actions.
Conscription ensured that millions could be mobilized overnight.
War was portrayed as honorable, necessary, and glorious.
Public enthusiasm masked the true cost of modern warfare.
Each crisis increased fear that war was unavoidable.
Trust between nations steadily eroded.
Industrial production ensured the means for prolonged conflict. Economic power became inseparable from military strength.
Political leaders fueled pride while narrowing paths to peace.
National identity increasingly overshadowed international cooperation.
Generals believed modern wars would be short and decisive. Few understood how devastating the coming war would become. Peace still lingered, but only on the surface.
The continent waited for a spark.
Time was running out for diplomacy. Europe stood on the edge of a disaster it had helped create.
By 1914, every major power had a plan ready to be executed. Military secrets were guarded, but intentions were well known.
Mobilization schedules allowed no hesitation or delay.
Many believed any coming war would be brief and glorious.
Civilian life remained calm, unaware of the approaching storm.
Diplomatic warnings multiplied, but decisive action was delayed.
The public sensed that peace was becoming fragile.
Borders hardened as trust between nations vanished.
The tools of destruction waited silently.
Europe approached a point of no return. Life continued, as if disaster were impossible.
Few realized how close the world stood to catastrophe.
Decisions made in private would soon affect millions.
The battlefield was empty, but not for long. Everything was ready, except the spark.
Armies waited for orders that would change history.
One message would be enough to unleash war. The continent awoke, unaware of what lay ahead.
The final moments of peace quietly slipped away.
The machinery of war was fully prepared.
No one stepped back when restraint was still possible.
The calm felt unnatural, almost deceptive.
National symbols waited for their moment.
The night before the storm was tense and silent.
The instruments of war waited patiently. Europe was entering its darkest chapter. The fate of millions now rested on fragile decisions. The world stood moments away from irreversible change.
The spark had not yet fallen,
But it soon would. In the next chapter, a single event would ignite a world war.